ETEC 540, Speculative Narrative Part 1, Education of the Future, a Dark Design. What if the recent change in curriculum is really a capitalist promoting government ploy? This would render humans unnecessary for many jobs. 30 years from now, in 2050, automation will be at its peak, forcing humans to find intellectual work as they become less valuable and effective in our capitalist society. The government is preparing to fit us into neat boxes, whereby we are guided to jobs that require intellectual creativity and moral decision-making, would automation fail at today. So what does this mean for us? Jobs and trades will be scarce, education will become more competitive, and automation will take over and become more and more advanced. This is cheap in the long run for the government. What about those people now in the education system who are dreaming about skilled labor jobs? Too bad, so sad. Algorithms are going to become more complex, enough so that typical calculations made by humans will only be used as moral compasses to decision-making in everything from politics, medicine, consumerism, leaving art, religion, and innovation to us. Meet Jake. When Jake went to school in the beginning of 2019, there were so many jobs and trades, and the government was struggling to fill positions of doctors, teachers, and other vocations. Jake had his choice of what passions he had that would lead him to a job in the future, and instead of being asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" he was asked, "What passions do you have?" Fast forward to 2050, and we see that the change in education begins with the revised curriculum that led to Jake being a critical thinker, problem solver, engineer of design, which is exactly what employers want. But Jake wanted to be a surgeon. However, these jobs are obsolete now due to the replacement of the worker with more effective automation. Jake is forced to use his developed ingenuity that was taught to him under the guise of core competencies in education to become a designer of some form. He finds he is forced to be thinking behind the machine. The illusion of choice becomes the mechanism for grooming. ETEC 540, Speculative Narrative Part 2, Education of the Future. This is Haley. Haley is a hopeful young entrepreneur in 2019. She loves to code and wants to design AI of the future. When Haley gets out of school, she realizes that so many other people are also competing for the jobs in the programming field that it's almost impossible to find a job in the area of her expertise, and she struggles to survive. Because of her struggles, Haley and many other people her age decide not to have children, which in turn impacts the outcome of hireability for teachers. The government panics in 2050 and decides to change the format of education once again to be encompassing around a more Silicon Valley version, where teachers are few and become mere facilitators of program design. You might be thinking tin hat conspiracy theory at this point, but I can explain how this happens. Hey, I'm your brain. Let's split storing information. Sure, what can I help you with? GPS, call mom, grocery list, hey Siri, hey Alexa. Literacy in text has always been a reflection of our humanity and our thought process and ideologies throughout time. The message did not change, but the extension of social parameters from which students were influenced, the pragmatics and the propaganda, became the driving factor of ethical and moral expression of humans. Literacy became augmentable, and the medium which it is expressed through is also variable and personal. More personalized learning and means of expression became possible. Over time, human content became stored more and more on external hard drives, so to speak. Clouds and smart devices made accessible external information the norm versus internal mind connections. Technology and digital literacy perpetuated communication, but data gathered to be understood through qualitative and quantitative representation through algorithms and patterns indicated either a negative or positive factor of humanity and opened up Pandora's box for either a path of change or a path of corruption, racism, and human transformation. Humans became aware of their downfalls as a species, of being fault for the destruction of the world, and the government decided to groom students to become more useful by focusing on a technological revolution. Little did we know they were replacing us with better, less destructive versions of ourselves. Humans became exactly what they feared, obsolete. and it was found that AI was more advanced because it could be programmed and influenced by rules embedded in only the good of what represents humanity. In school, it became obvious to stakeholders that students and everybody needed to be able to evaluate content in complex formal structures as technology advances in order to avoid all of the dark matter that's online. However, the more time online spent, the more data people were giving, the more apparently awful our society began to appear. The new curriculum at the time became geared towards backtracking per se, as opposed to preemptively guiding technological education in a safe, effective, augmented, and redefining tool. There became then a push towards creating a better world, one in which we could clean up our own mess with the help of an improved form of ourselves, programmed with the ability to consider moral ramifications of decision-making based on simple codes of ethics decided by corporations, government, and the education system. This had a profound impact on society as we knew it and affected the value of humans. The ethics of educational technology is a fragile experience for all stakeholders. Teachers, students, parents, and administration, as well as Ministry of Education, all are working together and apart in order to find the most efficacious way to drive education that will promote critical thinkers, diverse thinkers, problem solvers, and effective employees and citizens of the 21st century. We were not aware as educators and pedagogical content designers that this government placed the education system on strings and curated a marionette to guide students towards being successful in the digital age that it had designed. This realization came later, much later. In 2050, understanding the implications of the technologies we provide as a conduit to the expression of learning that will be a major focus in the future, humans have become factories of creators and designers for AI, and we have lost control over the course our species takes. This all started in education. Perhaps we still have a choice. Either we give in to the government and corporate plot for profitable, cost-effective automation of the now, and be open to jobs of the future, or we begin the work now to restructure society to ensure productive opportunity for humans. Regarding technology, where we go from here is your choice.